it's not the Wisconsin that I grew up in or that I believe in. It's the actions that are happening are contrary to everything I've come to know and believe about how workers and people are treated in this state.
It always seemed like Wisconsin was always a fair place to work, where you could, be expected to be compensated, fairly, paid well or paid fairly for whatever it was you were doing, kind of thing.
My wife and I raised 3 kids and stayed in this town, and we did all right. We kept moving up the ladder little by little, buying a house, fixing it up, buying a house, fixing it up, buying a house, fixing it up. And I think it's all possible because I had a decent job. And we knew that every year we were going to get somewhat of an increase. Now these guys that are working for I'm going to call it the government, aren't going to get that for a while. And if you don't have money, you can't spend it. And if you can't spend it, it's not going to help the economy.
I guess this just shows you how important it is to vote. Who we have in there now has destroyed things I've worked for, my wife has worked for most of her life. And within 1 year, it's been dismantled.
What's next? I mean, if these things weren't safe, then when do they start trimming other things back?
I know several people that don't vote because they're sick and tired of the way the government's being run and what's happening, and I keep telling them, hey, you got to go out and put in your 2 cents, get your vote in, because it's going to affect each and every one of us. Whether you're the president of the company or your job depends on who you elect. And if you sit home and don't vote, the guy who gets elected is going to dictate to you what you're going to do. So get out and vote.
You got to pay real close attention to who's running, what they stand for, and how they vote. Are they in line with your beliefs, or how you want to see the state start to be run? Do a little bit more research. Follow them in the newspaper. Go online. See what their voting record is, where they stand on certain issues. So in order to be an informed voter, it's one of the things I think I'm going to have to start taking more seriously.
I have not been politically active till this point in my life, other than to vote regularly in each election. I watched the events unfold in January and February of Wisconsin. For the first time in my life, I joined a protest, a march. I walked around the Capitol with thousands of other people. At 62 years old, voting is not enough. It's certainly a good start, but you need to come to some conclusions about what it all means. And if you're moved to, as I have been, you need to take action.
You start taking away our ability to negotiate, and perhaps we'll lose on our gains that we've gotten through unions across the board. Weekends, healthcare benefits, 40-hour work weeks, overtime pay, etc. And it just is a really slippery slope. Attacks on the working people of this state, union and non-union, is just why I'm down here fighting. It's going to be a really hard fight. I think that we need to keep in mind that it's not just union issues, it's middle class.
The biggest mistake I think anybody could make is just shutting themselves off and saying it's too complicated, it's too awful. If enough people do that, then the wrong folks will have their way, and it'll be very, very hard to undo.